Ever wonder about the stories hidden inside our favorite Christmas carols? They're like secret messages, passed down through generations, just waiting for us to rediscover them. Today, we're going to uncover the magical story behind one of the most beloved carols of all, Hark the Herald Angels Sing. But this isn't just a history lesson. This is a journey back in time, a fairy tale of sorts, about friendship and the power of a single song to change the world. Our story begins not in a grand palace or a mystical forest, but in the bustling, cobblestone streets of 18th century England. It was a time of great change, of new ideas and deep-seated traditions. And at the heart of this era lived two men, two brilliant minds who also the best of friends, Charles Wesley and George Whitefield. Charles was a poet at heart. Words flowed from him like a river. He wrote thousands of hymns, each one a tiny masterpiece of devotion and emotion. He saw the world in verses and rhymes, and his greatest desire was to capture the overwhelming joy of his faith in words that everyone could sing. George, on the other hand, was a preacher, but not just any preacher. He was an orator, a storyteller whose voice could captivate thousands. When George spoke, people listened. They leaned in, they felt every word, and his sermons were legendary, drawing massive crowds in because no church was big enough to hold them all. These two men, the poet and the preacher, were inseparable. They shared a deep bond, a spiritual connection that fueled their work. They were pioneers of a new religious movement, one that took faith out of the formal, stuffy churches and brought it directly to the people, in the streets, in the fields, in their hearts. They believed that faith wasn't meant to be a quiet, private affair, but a loud, joyful, and public celebration. One crisp Christmas morning, inspiration struck Charles. He had just attended a church service, and as he walked home, the sound of London's church bells ringing out in celebration filled the air. It was a symphony of joy, a sound that seemed to echo the happiness of the season. The image of angels, heralding the birth of a newborn king, filled his mind. He rushed to his desk, his heart pounding with creative energy. He grabbed his quill, and the words began to pour onto the page. He wrote, "Hark, how all the welkin rings, glory to the King of Kings." Welkin, an old word for the heavens or the sky. He imagined the entire cosmos, the very fabric of the sky, vibrating with the song of angels. It was a powerful, magnificent image. The poem was a burst of pure, unadulterated joy. It was passionate, it was poetic, and for Charles, it was perfect. He called it a hymn for Christmas Day. He had captured the awe and wonder of that first Christmas, and he couldn't wait to share it with the world, and most importantly, with his dear friend, George. He presented his new hymn to George, his eyes shining with pride. George read the words carefully. He saw the beauty in them, the raw power. But he also saw something else. As a preacher who spoke to common people every day, he knew that language was a bridge, and sometimes even the most beautiful words could be a barrier if people didn't understand them. The poem was glorious, but he worried it might fly over the heads of the very people they were trying to reach. George, ever the practical communicator, gently suggested a few changes. He looked at the opening line, "Hark, how all the welkin rings." He loved the sentiment, but he proposed something more direct, something that painted an even clearer picture. How about "Hark the Herald Angels Sing"? It was simple, it was evocative, and everyone knew what a herald angel was. It immediately brought to mind the image of celestial messengers proclaiming good news. Charles was taken aback. This poem was his baby, his creation, born from a moment of pure inspiration. He was a poet, and poets are protective of their words. He felt the changes diluted his original artistic vision. The word welcome was majestic. It had history. To him, changing it felt like painting over a small but essential detail in a masterpiece. A friendly debate ensued. It wasn't an argument, but a passionate discussion between two friends who respected each other immensely, but saw the path to the same goal through different lenses. Charles wanted poetic perfection. George wanted maximum impact. In the end, Charles, perhaps a little reluctantly, decided to stick with his original version. He published the hymn as he wrote it, Hark! How all the welkin rings. The hymn was well received, but it didn't quite take flight. It was beautiful, but it hadn't yet found the wings it needed to soar into the hearts of millions. The two friends continued their work together, their bond unshaken by their artistic differences. Their mission was far too important for that. Years passed. Sadly, both Charles Wesley and George Whitefield eventually passed away, leaving behind an incredible legacy of faith and service. They had changed the religious landscape of their time. But the story of our carol wasn't over. In fact, its most magical chapter was just beginning. Decades later, people who had been inspired by Wesley and Whitefield were still singing Charles's hymns. They were compiling his works into new collections to be shared with new generations. An unknown editor, likely a follower of George Whitefield and someone who remembered his passion for clear, powerful communication, came across a hymn for Christmas Day. This editor, whose name is lost to history, remembered the debate. They remembered George's suggestion, and in a quiet act of editorial genius, they made the change. Hark! How all the welkin rings became hark. The Herald Angels Sing. It was a small tweak, just a few words, but it was like finding the right key for a locked door. The hymn was reborn. It was clearer, more direct, more singable. It was as if George Whitefield, from beyond the veil, had finally gotten his wish. But the song was still missing one crucial element, its music. Charles's words were originally sung to many different tunes. It hadn't yet found its one true musical soulmate. That would happen over a century after the words were first written, across the English Channel in Germany. A brilliant composer named Felix Mendelssohn was commissioned to write a cantata to commemorate the 400th anniversary of the invention of the printing press. He composed a grand, stirring piece of music, full of soaring trumpets and majestic chords, to celebrate the power of the printed word to spread knowledge. Mendelssohn was very clear about his music. He said it was for a secular, patriotic event and should never, ever be used for religious words. He felt the tone was wrong for a sacred hymn. But the music was just too good, too powerful to be contained. It was a melody that was destined for something greater. After Mendelssohn's death, an English musician named William H. Cummings was trying to find the perfect music for the now famous lyrics of Hark! The Herald Angels Sing. He listened to Mendelssohn's cantata. He heard the triumphant, celebratory spirit in the melody. He heard the fanfares that sounded just like celestial trumpets. It was a perfect match. Ignoring Mendelssohn's explicit wishes, Cummings paired the poet's words with the composer's music, and in that moment, magic happened. The words of Charles Wesley, refined by his friend George Whitefield, were finally united with the magnificent music of Felix Mendelssohn. The poet's joy, the preacher's clarity, and the composer's grandeur all came together. The song was complete. It was like three streams flowing from different mountains, finally merging to become one mighty river. This is the fairy tale behind Hark! The Herald Angels Sing. It's a story about the beauty of collaboration. It shows us that sometimes our best work isn't created alone in a room, but in conversation, in friendship, and even in disagreement with people we trust. Charles had the poetic spark. George had the communicator's wisdom. And a century later, Mendelssohn and Cummings provided the final, essential pieces of the puzzle. None of them could have created this masterpiece alone. It is a testament to the idea that a good idea can be made great when we ray open to the input of others. It reminds us that our creations often take on a life of their own, evolving in ways we never could have imagined. Charles Wesley wanted to write a beautiful poem. He had no idea he was planting a seed that would grow into one of the most famous songs in the entire world. A song that would be sung by billions of people for centuries to come. So the next time you hear those familiar notes, the next time you sing those opening words, remember this story. Remember the two friends, the poet and the preacher, who debated over a single line. Remember the composer who wrote music for one purpose, only to have it find its true destiny in another. It's a song born of friendship, tweaked by wisdom, and set to music by a happy accident of history. It's a carol that truly belongs to everyone. This story of friendship, faith, and unintended collaboration has left a deep mark on me, and I hope it has on you too. It is a reminder that beauty can be found in the most unexpected places, and that the greatest things are often built together. Please sing with me this traditional carol if this story leaves something in you.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies. With angelic host proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Christ by highest heaven adored, Christ the everlasting Lord. Late in time, behold him come, offspring of a virgin's womb. Veiled in flesh, the Godhead seen,